And one of the ways that the Torah teaches us manners is from animals. The Gemara says, look at you, you lowly man. That if it wasn't for the Torah, you'd have to learn how to be clean from the cat. Because the cat cleans itself. And many other animals, we learn different things from them. And the Chazon Ish elaborates and he says, animals serve man, such as the ox that bears a yoke and a donkey that is the beast of burden. Now, the Torah says in Sefer Dvarim, chapter 22, verse number 10, that you're not allowed to have the donkey and the ox work together. There's a complete prohibition, just like eating pork is prohibited, just like touching your wife if she's nida is prohibited, just like driving on Shabbat is prohibited. It's prohibited to have the donkey and the ox plow your field together. Torah says it. Question is why? The donkey plows, that's his job, and so does the ox. That's their role. What if I don't have two donkeys? What if I have one donkey and one ox? So what, I'm just going to give it to the ox by himself? Or just give it to the donkey by himself? Might as well use both of them. No, Torah says it's forbidden. In fact, it's forbidden to use any other mix of animals. In fact, if you have a mule that his father is a horse, but the other mule, the father is a donkey, you're not allowed to have two mules. They both have to have the same type of parents. Question is why? It says you have to learn midot from this pasuk. What midot? Look at the work that's being done. If the ox and the donkey were to plow together, something horrible would happen. The ox is clearly stronger, which means that now, although they're both pulling, since the ox is stronger, he's going to do more work than the donkey. And that's not fair. Yeah, but he's an animal. So, he's a creation of Hashem. Why should he work harder than the guy that's getting paid the same amount? Why? Better yet, if they work together, then the donkey is going to look at the ox and he's going to notice that the ox, since it chews its cud, it's constantly chewing. Which to the donkey looks like he's constantly eating, he's constantly being fed, but I'm not being fed. Why? Because the donkey eats, he swallows, finished. The ox chews its cud, so it swallows, regurgitates, comes back out. So it's constantly chewing, so it looks like you're constantly feeding the ox. How come he's getting paid more than me? We're doing the same job. He's driving a cab, I'm driving a cab. He's fixing the closet over there, I'm fixing the closet over there. How come he's getting 1,000 a week and I'm getting 200? It's not fair. Why? Because he's your brother. He's getting paid more. It's not fair. If we're doing the same job, we should get paid the same amount. So it's even though you're not paying him more, it looks like it. It looks like you're paying the ox more to the donkey. It's already not good. Horrible. Even though it's just a donkey. Third, the donkey is not a kosher animal. The ox is. And the Baal HaTurim says this is symbolic of a tzaddik doing business with a rasha. The prohibition for a tzaddik to do business with a rasha. Many times you see religious people do business. And sometimes they don't necessarily care so much about who they do business with. Why? Because cash is green. In America, at least. So they figured, listen, I'm in a partnership with this guy on this building, I'm in a partnership with this guy on this company, but he's a mechalel Shabbat, right? It's not a big deal, because it's just, no, it is a big deal. He's a Rasha, you're a tzaddik. Not allowed to be in partnership together. You're not allowed to be in partnership together. You can work for him, he can work for you, you can do certain things like that, but to be in a partnership like that, no good. And even working together is problematic. Why? Shouldn't be together. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. Many times people have religious problems, even if they're religious, because of the people they choose to do business with. Just a couple of weeks ago, a guy asked me a question. He's like, listen, I just got into this partnership. I guess I should have asked you this question before I bought into it. But my partner, he doesn't keep Shabbat. So he wants to run the laundromat on Shabbat. Is that okay? I said, yeah, you were supposed to ask me before you bought into the business. Yeah, but he doesn't keep Shabbat anyway. I said, it doesn't make a difference. You now own it. Now you have a problem. Depends. Somebody attend, doesn't attend, is it known that the person's Jewish? Point is, why did you get yourself into this mess in the first place? That you now have to find some type of leniency of how to get yourself out of this hole because you can't get out of the partnership. If you told the guy, listen, I don't want this partnership anymore, he goes, okay, listen, I'll just take 100% for free then. No big deal. No, I want you to buy me out. Hey, sorry, I spent the money already. I'm not buying nothing out. You bought in, that's it. Why did you get yourself into this mess? Why didn't you ask the rabbi first? A lot of times we make decisions first and then ask the rabbi after we've gotten into a mess. The Baal Turim says you have to learn from a donkey and the ox. They're not allowed to work together. Why? One's a tzaddik, one's a rasha. Find another way. Find another way. Rabbi, listen, I have these 2 job offers. Okay. Well, one job pays more money. Okay. The other job pays less money. Yeah, that usually happens. When the one's more, the other one's usually less. Okay, so what's the question? Well, listen, the one that pays more, he doesn't really, he's not really into this whole Judaism thing. He wants me to work on the holidays, and he says on Fridays I have to work a full day. I have to leave work at 5 o'clock, which means that I'm going to have to violate Shabbat, part of the year. You said you had a question. Yeah, well, that's the question. The other guy says that he'll let me work whatever schedule I want, with Judaism and everything, but it's a lot less money. Yeah, you said you had a question. Yeah, that's the question. Which job should I take? That's not a question. That's not a question. Violating Shabbat is not a question. It's like saying, Rabbi, I want to go to Gan Eden, but Gehenom at the same time. There's no question here. There's no permission to violate the Torah for the sake of money. Why did you get yourself in this situation in the first place? The second the guy says you're not allowed to leave early for Shabbat, you're not allowed to work a schedule that allows you to take off Jewish holidays, it's no longer a job offer. Yeah, well, I don't have any other job. Okay, then pray to Hashem harder. There's no question. You're not allowed to work on Yom Kippur. You're not allowed to work on Shabbat. It's not a question if you want to go to Gan Eden. You want to go to Gehenom, Mabruk, enjoy yourself. But so long as you think it's a question, you haven't learned from the donkey. You haven't learned from the ox. Lastly, Chazal tell us that this donkey and ox example is also symbolic of intermarriage. No matter how nice the donkey is and how beautiful the ox is, it's forbidden for them to be together and bring a new animal to the world. Just like it's forbidden for a Jew and a Gentile to bring children to the world or even be together intimately. Forbidden completely. Yeah, but she's a really nice girl. Doesn't make a difference. Yeah, but he's really rich. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but he accepts my Judaism. It's just that, he doesn't want to be Jewish himself. It's not a question. These are not questions. You have to understand, intermarriage is forbidden under all circumstances in Judaism. If you're a guy, you can marry whoever you want among Gentiles. If you're a German, you can marry Chinese, you can marry Portuguese, you can marry a Spaniard, you can marry a Greek, you can marry an Arab, you can marry whoever you want. But if you're a Jew, you're only allowed to marry a Jew. Now, by the way, for all of the wonderful Gentiles that watch our shiurim, you are forbidden from marrying a Jew. And if you marry a Jew, you are guilty of violating the 7 Noahide laws, specific law of murder. Because what you're doing by being married to a Jew is you are murdering their neshama. So long as you remain married to a Jew, you're committing murder anew every day. Yeah, but I love him. It's not a question. A Jew is not allowed to marry a non-Jew. Even if they're wonderful people, even if they're exceptionally smart and exceptionally beautiful, and all of the things that you can say, and they most likely are, and you're most likely right, still not allowed. Even if the donkey says love you text messages to the ox every single day on WhatsApp, with a little emoji next to it and a kiss, doesn't make a difference. Not allowed. Not allowed.